Match Mahurat is now live. Thank you very much for tuning in. And today we'll definitely start this with a bit of a guided meditation. As you know, the stress and anxiety, depression, it's really common among students, and we really need a practice that kind of safeguards us. So, very quick guided meditation. I'm a Kriya Yogi, and I've been following this technique for years now. So basically, first and foremost, you clean up your nose and everything so that you can do the deep breathing. So very quickly, we'll be sitting. It's not important to sit in a certain posture. It's a lotus posture or you're sitting cross-legged. You can be sitting on your chair, and then you clean up your nose and everything, and then you take a deep breath, inhaling from your nostrils. So we'll just begin. All right. Now inhale again. So basically, what you do is you hold your breath for a while. You inhale, you hold, and you release with the same intensity. So let's do 10 repetitions of it. Quick 10 repetitions. Inhale, hold, release. Quick 10 repetitions. It'll really make you let loose. It'll make you feel so calm. So the pattern here is take a deep breath, inhale, hold, and release. Yeah, let's do it together. You can keep your eyes closed in the process, or you can even keep them open the way you like it. So hope all of you have got this process, students. Inhale, hold, and release. 5 more quick repetitions. Very good, in sync and in rhythm. You're doing just fine, students. Carry on. You can also send us your videos doing it. Inhale, hold, release. Just do it with all the vigor and the intensity that you can do it. Very good, very good. Continue at it. A few more times. Inhale, hold, release. So that basically, calms you very quickly and instantly. And now, an extension to it, extension to the Kriya Yoga of it, we just, inhale and exhale twice. Like we'd been doing it single time. We had been like inhaling it once, holding and exhaling once. Now we do it twice. So basically you hold it here also. Inhale twice, hold and exhale twice. Let's do 10 repetitions of it. Right? So come on, let's get started with it. Let's do few repetitions of it. Yes, Ethan has joined us here. Thank you very much for the shout out, Ethan, and please join us in this guided meditation, especially for the kings and queens of Palace of Words. Very nice, very nice. Please continue at it. Continue with these breathing exercises. Last five repetitions, I really insist that you do it together at this holy hour. Hey, Sakshi. Let's just carry on with these repetitions. These breathing techniques are purely to calm you down. I am a trained Kriya Yogi, and I guess being calm is really important. So, one last repetition, inhaling twice, holding it, exhaling twice. So, this is just a technique. Thank you very much for pulling in into this technique. So, you can always try this. You can try it in early morning or in the evenings before going to sleep, because we need to be calm. So first and foremost, clear your nose, clear your throat, and the first thing you do is you can focus on your breath. You can breathe deeply, which is actually the key to better focus. So I would insist that you totally do it. Students, you do it, like people of all ages. I insist that you do it, because it will really, uh, bring in a whole lot of positivity in you. It will really, make you more productive and creative and more calm. So please do that, because we need a good, calming practice in this day and age, which keeps us centered, which keeps us more focused. And I guess you can also write down about how you felt about this process and the technique. And today, the main idea of assembling here is regarding our national level essay competition, Operation Sindoor, redefining the policy of terrorism. So it's the final day, it's 30th July already, and I guess we should submit our essays today itself. And I've done a bit of my research on Operation Sindoor and on this essay contest. So, first and foremost, is you can please have your pen and paper with you, so that we can write it down clearly, that okay, what is the essay about, what does it get on to, what does it bring forth. So let's do that. So it's a 500 to 600 words essay. That is it's a very compact essay. You don't have to write too long. Mostly these essay competitions range up to like 800 to 1000 words, but it's a very crisp 500 600 words essay. So we have to be very specific, and I'll also share the techniques, the tips and the tricks way I am writing it. I have my notes ready about it. I've done some rough drafts here. So Operation Sindoor, redefining the policy of terrorism, is about the title. It's the title of the essay, Operation Sindoor, redefining the policy of terrorism. So here it's about Operation Sindoor first and foremost. So if it's about 500 to 600 words, and you break it into five or six paragraphs, so each paragraph would happily be around 80 to 100 words. So there could be an opening passage, an introductory passage, where you write about Operation Sindoor, you write about its history, where it started, you write about the details, you write about it, you write about its significance and the impact also, brief generalization about Operation Sindoor. And then, the second passage could be like a problem that was in the first place. You can write about the terrorism, you can write about the India Pakistan situation, you can write about the evolution, you can write about the earlier operations, the old policy of terrorism, and the sufferings, why there was the need for Operation Sindoor, what went by. that caused Operation Sindoor. Then you can write about its implementation, its execution, the positive change that it brought, and you can conclude it about the idea of Operation Sindoor. You know, was it important in the first place, or it wasn't required, or why it was required if it was required in the first place? And then you can conclude your paragraph with certain observations, certain details. So this is quite important. And then now discussing Operation Sindoor, that is extremely important. Now we are centered after a great guided meditation technique by the Palace of Words. We can also call it the power meditation. And we can often do it on maybe midweeks. It's Wednesday today, so the meditation midweek. And maybe we can do it every now and then to calm ourselves and to carry on with a good spirit. So let's, dig deeper into the Operation Sindoor, that what it was, why was there a need for it in the first place, and what it brought along. So let's started with the 2025 India-Pakistan conflict. So mostly it was about this conflict that gave birth to Operation Sindoor. The 2025 India-Pakistan conflict was a brief armed conflict between India and Pakistan that began on 7th May 2025 after India launched missile strikes on Pakistan in a military campaign codenamed Operation Sindoor. So there was a terrorist attack in Falgam where some civilians were killed by the Pakistani militants. And after that, on 7th of May 2025, where it all started, India launched missile strikes on Pakistan in a military campaign codenamed Operation Sindoor. Here it all began on 7th May 2025, right? And India said that operation was in response to the Falgam terrorist attack in India administered Jammu and Kashmir on 22nd April 2025, in which 26 civilians were killed. Obviously, it was really, a dark day in the history of mankind that, for no reason, 26 civilians are killed at Falgam on 22nd April 2025. So, Operation Sindoor was a coded mission in response to this harmful, illegitimate, unnecessary act. And India accused Pakistan of supporting cross border terrorism, which Pakistan denied. So it was cross border terrorism, of course. Why are civilians being killed? It was, the violation of the peace treaty. It was totally useless. And our country was really, enraged. Our administration were enraged, our army was enraged, and the democracy, one of the youngest in the world of 150 crores of people, 1.5 billion people, was infuriated. And Operation Sindoor was launched. So many believe it was the right thing to do because India never initiates any kind of attack. India never violates peace treaty. That is why we have good relation in terms with everyone, with all the countries in the world. But it was in response to this heinous act on 22nd April, where 26 civilians got killed, they got shot. So that was something, this Falgam terror attack brought up. Operation Sindoor took birth. So basically, you know, the idea of this particular insurgency in Jammu and Kashmir and the Kashmir conflict led to this Operation Sindoor. So basically, let's talk about the commanders and leaders of both the country. In India, Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, was the commander in chief, Mr. Anil Chauhan and Mr. Amarpreet Singh. They were the commanders and leaders. And on the other hand, in Pakistan, it was Shehbaz Sharif, Azim Munir, and Zahir Ahmad Babar. So they were like the commanders of our neighboring country. which is quite hostile. See, hostility in any form is bad and it's intolerable. So I duly support Operation Sindoor because it was a response. This Romanization that has led our country to be, calm, to be very civilized, shouldn't be considered a weakness. We love our country, all the beings, people, all the civilians. We have deep love and respect and regard for the country. And if anyone comes to jeopardize our peace, we won't, held behind. We will attack. If needed be, we will carry our arms and ammunitions and we will surely strike back. That is the law of the land, I guess. Because this loss of civilians was very dear, and especially to the people who lost their children, who lost their parents, who lost their family members. This was very bad. It was devastating, it was jeopardizing, and I guess a retaliation was a must. That is what Operation Sindoor was about. So, 7th May, India launched Operation Sindoor with missile strikes on terrorism related infrastructure facilities of Pakistan based militant groups, Jaish e Mohammed and Lashkar e Taiba in Pakistan, and Pakistan administered Azad Kashmir and said that no Pakistani military or civilian facilities were targeted. So even we really attacked so nobly. We didn't target any Pakistani militant. We didn't target any human in the first place. So it was all these, the terror-centric, basically the terrorism-related infrastructure facilities of Pakistan-based militant groups, Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba in Pakistan, and Pakistan administered Azad Kashmir. So no Pakistani military or civilian facilities were targeted in the first place. सो हमने जब वार भी किया तो बड़े उसूलों से किया. वी वर क्लियर कि किसी एक ह्यूमन काइंड को हम नहीं नुकसान पहुंचाना चाहते हैं, हम नुकसान टेररिज्म को पहुंचाना चाहते हैं. सो जो हमारी एक पहल थी ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के साथ, वो बहुत ही ज्यादा क्लियर थी और वो टेररिस्ट सेंट्रिक एक पहल थी. और एक बड़ा गांधीयन थॉट यहाँ पे था कि पाप से घृणा करो, पापी से नहीं. We didn't target any Pakistani militant. We didn't target any Pakistani terrorist group. We didn't target any human. We targeted the terrorist facilities, the terrorism related infrastructure of Pakistan. The militant groups Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba and in Pakistan, and the Pakistan administered Azad Kashmir. They were targeted. No Pakistani military or civilian facilities were targeted. And students, I would also request कि आप सुन रहे हो अभी ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के बारे में, हैव योर पेन एंड पेपर रेडी. आप अपने पास नोट्स रखिए, आप नोट्स बनाइए, वो आपके एसे लिखने में बहुत हेल्प करेगा, आपको वो बहुत काम आएगी वो चीज़. सो हैव योर पेन एंड पेपर एट ऑल कॉस्ट्स. And it's really a very bad sight to see a student in a class without his pen and paper. वो ऑफलाइन क्लास हो चाहे वो ऑनलाइन क्लास हो, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है बच्चों. यू शुड हैव लाइक पेन एंड पेपर आर द वेपन्स ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स. हैव दैट एट ऑल कॉस्ट. दैट शोज कन्विक्शन, दैट शोज कि आप कुछ सीखने आए हो, कुछ लिखने आए हो. बिकॉज you could be having like a mastermind focus, you could be having like the best of the memory, बट जैसे ही क्लास खत्म होती है, आप खेलने चले जाते हो, आप क्लास के बाद कुछ गेम खेल लेते हो, लंच खा लेते हो, आप सब भूल भी जाते हो. यू नीड रिविजन एंड रेपिटेशन आर द कोर. यही चीजें आपको टॉपर बनाती है, आपको अच्छे मार्क्स दिलाती है. सो हैव योर पेन एंड पेपर विद यू एट ऑल कॉस्ट्स. आप नोट्स बना रहे हो, आप पढ़ रहे हो, लिख लिख के पढ़ो. सबकॉन्शियस एक्टिवेट हो जाता है लिखने से. प्लीज बी इन द हैबिट ऑफ राइटिंग. एग्जाम में तो लिखना ही है ना. So make sure, time and again I keep saying this because it will benefit you. मैं तो 1 घंटे का लेक्चर है, 2 घंटे की क्लास है, मैं वो क्लास दे के अपना मैं निकल लूंगा, बट इट वुड बी यू हु विल बी बेनिफिटेड. सो प्लीज ऑलवेज हैव योर पेन एंड पेपर रेडी. उससे आप जो अभी भी हम ये ऐसे डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, प्लीज मेक गुड नोट्स. इट विल हेल्प यू क्यूरेट अ ब्यूटीफुल essay, and you never know, you get a chance to win the cash prizes related with the essay. I guess the top entry would be securing a very handsome sum of rupees 10,000. And also the top 200 entries would be securing like a pass to witness the Independence Day celebrations at the Red Fort. So obviously, like all the participants would get a very stimulating activity to do. We have nothing to lose. Prize or no prize, reward or no reward, at the end of the day, we have nothing to lose. It's a free entry, it's a national level essay. Almost, close to 20,000 entries have already been registered in the mygovernment.in portal. We would also be registering our entries at Palace of Words. And let's see, what we get out of this. At least we'll be stimulated. We'll get to know about Operation Sindoor. We'll get to know about, its reasons, why it began, when it began, how it began, what was the impact. So, totally a mind stimulating activity by all means. So, let's go all in. Let's properly dig into the Operation Sindoor and have the pen and paper ready. I myself am carrying all the notes, like, I have written it down. I have my own pen and paper with myself. I would like to show this to you. Like, here, I have all the notes with me to, write and note it down, like, whatever there is to be mentioned, to be noted down. Because it's basically an act where we'll have to write, we'll have to, look through it. So please have that conviction at all costs. We are here to, cater to a cause. So then let's begin with this. And talking about Operation Sindoor, according to Pakistan, the Indian strikes hit civilian areas, including mosques, and resulted in civilian casualties. So that's what the Pakistan side of the story is. And following these strikes, there were border skirmishes and drone strikes between the two countries. Pakistan's army retaliated on the 7th of May by launching a blitz of mortar shells on Jammu, particularly Poonch, killing civilians and damaging homes and religious sites. This conflict marked the first drone battle between the two nuclear armed nations. So, this again is, very important an aspect that even then our rivals, they didn't quietly recuperated, or they didn't kind of succumbed, but they again started some infiltration. They attacked Jammu, they attacked the Poonch area, and it was also the first airstrike between the two countries. The conflict marked the first drone battle between the two nuclear armed nations, because yeah, war is destructive, and as Plato beautifully says, only the dead knows the end of the war. I guess it's a very powerful statement. I will be using it in my essay, that only the dead knows the end of the war. So even Pakistan, came in, and the ones who started the fight in the first place, they already started attacking, and then it was the drone battle also. So, as it said, this conflict marked the first drone battle between the two nuclear armed nations, that is, India and Pakistan. And in the early hours of 10th May, India accused Pakistan of launching missile attacks on Indian air bases, including the Sirsa Air Base, while Pakistan accused India of launching attacks on several Pakistan air bases, including Noor Khan Air Base, Rafiki Air Base, and Murid Air Base. So basically, now, whenever there's a tussle, there's a war, people are always pointing out on the other ally, other force. Never would India say, okay, we are wrong. Never would Pakistan, which was terrible in its this entire conflict, say that we are wrong. So they started putting up the blame game, that there are some airstrikes, there's some invasions of the air bases. So both the countries were at the top hostility, a very warlike scenario. And then, as the conflict escalated on 10th May, Pakistan launched its Operation Banyan un Marsus. So on 10th May, Pakistan launched this operation called the Banyan un Marsus, Bunyan. UN Marsoos, MARSOOS. So this was an operation launched by Pakistan in which it said it had targeted several Indian military bases. So Pakistan came out and open it said that several Indian bases have been targeted now under this operation Banyan un Marsoos. Banyan un Marsoos. Here, Pakistan said that it had targeted several Indian military bases. And after the 4 day military conflict, both India and Pakistan announced that a ceasefire had been agreed after a hotline communication between their DGMOs, that is the Directors General of Military Operations, on 10th May 2025. And this was the time where it was, पूरे डर का माहौल. There used to be complete blackout around the regions, around the border adjoining areas in Punjab, that the electricity used to be shut completely. And this was one warlike situation, a very terrible and a very hostile situation, and people were terrorized across the country, in fact in both the countries. So then what happened? A ceasefire was announced basically, like after this 4 day military conflict. Both India and Pakistan announced that a ceasefire had been agreed after a hotline communication between their Directors General of Military Operations, the DGMOs, on 10th of May 2025. So the US Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of the State Marco Rubio held extensive correspondence with both Indian and Pakistani officials during the negotiations. The ceasefire has been holding with resumed commercial flights and normalcy reported from both countries. So then definitely, the ceasefire has been holding with resumed commercial flights and normalcy reported from both countries. And after that also there was some tussles, there was some conflicts. Once maybe when the official ceasefire was supposed to be, there had been infiltration from Pakistan. And then these all things came to the fore, and finally we India are a peacemaking nation always. Then the things restored. But obviously, like here, I would like to quote a poet Rahim. Rahiman धागा प्रेम का मत तोड़ो चटकाए टूटे तो फिर ना जुड़े जुड़े तो गांठी पड़ जाए. So same was the situation. Basically, terrorism has no religion. Terrorism has no land. Pakistan is not bad. India is not bad. It is the few groups who initiate such activities and which cause such havoc across nations, across the globe. I believe at the end of the day, Pakistan and India had been like one family altogether, like there had been one land. India is a secular country, and everyone has the right to follow and propagate any religion of their choice. We practice absolute secularism. We have great love for different religions, diverse communities, and India is also one nation which is very tolerant towards everyone. But I guess certain activities are always, they hamper peace. They're a threat to the peace, and they should always be, boycotted. They should always be, you know, there should be retaliation to such activities, because otherwise it would be weakness. If we can't go by the Gandhian thought that okay, we are slapped in one cheek, we get the another forward, we'll be punched then. We have to at times take charge, and anything that violates our peace has to be condemned, has to be boycotted. That's exactly what Operation Sindoor does. Recently, I got a chance to visit the Air Force base station at Kershong. A dear friend of mine, Flight Lieutenant Akshan Suri, is posted there, and he, took us through the air base, and it was one privilege as a civilian to see our childhood friend being the hero guarding our country. And he showed us around. So we are very powerful. The systems there are so powerful that it'll just take a button to, do mass destruction. But we are law abiding people. We are, peace loving nation. And we have a peace treaty. The World Peace Treaty is something we really deeply believe in, and that should be believed upon as well. So peace is important, I guess, and I guess we should talk prosperity. We should talk maybe artificial intelligence. We should talk Mars invasions. We should talk about all the developing endeavors that is going to shape our new vision, our new mission, our new India, rather than talking terrorism or just solving conflicts or just being in this muscle tussle with religion or maybe communities or nations. So I believe peace, I believe in productivity, and all of us do that. So a great thanks to the people guarding us, our heroes in all the three forces, be the air force, be it the navy, be it the army. It is because of you who we can sleep peacefully. We know there are people to fight for us. We know there are people who are guarding us. So we are really privileged, and I believe we should only make life better for each one of us. Maybe we celebrate the festivals very, you know, with great grandeur. I'm really digressing also, but I would like to add this, that maybe we should build a considerable world so that the army jawan or the navy jawan or the air force jawan securing our peace, our security must be proud of the nation. There's a lot that has to be achieved in our country. There's a lot as humans we need to achieve, we need to foster to. We need to be our best selves. We really need to, put forth our best foot forward. We really need to be considerate. We really need to be compassionate. And I believe spirituality will save the world. How about a nation? How about the world doing Kriya Yoga? The meditation we did in the morning. Do you think after such calm and peace and such vibrant life force, we would think war? Never. We'd always think love. We would think communion and harmony and coexistence, which is the need of an hour. We need everyone. India needs Pakistan. Pakistan needs India. We need America. We need Japan. Japan and America does need us too. Interdependence is the core of us humans. Like we can socialize. We are called social animals. We are social beings. We have the faculty to speak, to hear, to listen. So we must be peace loving. We must abide by, peace treaty. We must live in a harmony, in a communal harmony. We must embrace the spirit of universal brotherhood, which would make us great as nation, as individual, as families, as communities, as society. So Operation Sindoor helped us think. No one likes to hold arms against their fellow beings, as even the army of both the parties are made up of flesh and blood, have families to feed, have people waiting at their homes. As Thomas Hardy very beautifully puts up in his poem, The Man He Killed, that they're just doing their duty. They are not, killing machines, or, it's not a sport for the people in the army, people in the defense forces to kill the other beings. They really have to do it with a heavy heart to protect their nation. And I believe there should be this idea of universal brotherhood, and we should always be real. We should always be absolutely secular in our conduct, in our deportment. We should be peace loving people across the globe, be it Asia, Europe, Africa, America, Australia, in all the continents, all the places, in all the countries. Let's embrace peace. Then we'll build this world better and more beautiful. Right, my kings and queens? So, mostly Now we'll also study the background basically of the Operation Sindoor, that how it basically started. So the Kashmir conflict, ongoing since 1947, has fueled multiple wars and skirmishes between India and Pakistan over the disputed region. So there have been certain wars happening, there's always been some conflicts happening. So then, on the 22nd of April 2025, a terrorist attack by five armed terrorists near Falgam in India administered Jammu and Kashmir killed 26 civilians. So that is where it all started, the dark day, 22nd April. The Resistance Front, an offshoot of the Pakistan based UN designated terrorist group Lashkar e Taiba, initially claimed responsibility for the attack, which it later retracted. India announced a series of retaliatory measures against Pakistan, including the suspension of the Indus Water Treaty. So the situation was hostile, and there had been the suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty also as a retaliation, as a retaliatory measure against Pakistan, prompting responsive measures and leading to a diplomatic crisis and border skirmishes. Things became bad, really bad. So basically, India and Pakistan also closed their airspaces for each other's airlines. Even the airspaces were closed because, yes, it wasn't a very jolly situation. It was hostility all around, and it was, an environment of terror, and atmosphere of, great awe and shock and terror and fear. So we had to condemn it, like both the nations were infuriated. So basically, on the 30th April, Pakistan claimed that a military strike by India was imminent. So then India had to also retaliate, basically. So now we'll also look at the timeline of how things were and how things happened. 7th of May, we talk about first and foremost that on 7th of May 2025, India announced that it had launched missile and airstrikes, codenamed Operation Sindoor. To 7th May, it all began. Operation Sindoor was launched, targeting nine sites across Pakistani administered Azad Kashmir and Pakistan's Punjab province. Seven targets, including some in Pakistan administered Kashmir, were struck by the Indian Army's artillery regiment using precision long range M982 Excalibur round and loitering munitions, while air defense was jointly provided by the Army and the Indian Air Force. The Israeli press mentioned Indo Israeli Sky Striker loitering munitions. The attacks on targets in Pakistani Punjab were carried out by the Indian Air Force. According to the sources cited by India Today, Rafale jets were employed, equipped with SCALP missiles and AASM hammer bombs, according to a working paper written by Christopher Clary for Stimson Center, Brahmos. Cruise missiles might have also been used. So India went all out to safeguard the nation's security, to, you know, retaliate in anger and angst, and in this unlawful and a lethal crime that the Pakistani terrorist front committed. I guess it's important to retaliate. It's important to express, and I guess if something bad happens, it's important to retaliate badly. Imagine being a weak boy being bullied by the students, taking no action. The bullies get overpowered. If you're not complaining against them, if you're not retaliating, you're not in a position to retaliate, they bully you even more. Imagine taking a stand, having the courage to report it to the authorities. or talking man to man with them, not facing the beating, but being the one to, retaliate and act. That puts you in a stronger position. The bullies will stop. So that's exactly what India did, as they found it right, because it was important. Someone infiltrated in our own premises, in our own. The retaliation was very important. We had no other way but to retaliate. So India did the right thing. The Indian government described the strikes as focused, measured, and non escalatory. Indian military spokespeople said that the missile strikes targeted infrastructure linked to the terrorist groups Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, and Hizbul Mujahideen, and that no Pakistani military facilities were targeted, with the location selected to avoid damage to civilian infrastructure. So look at the compassion our country holds. The sites were targeted, not the people. India was once very clear in the intention that this move had to be totally non-escalatory, just showing the claws, not biting, not devouring. So India really gently attacked the rivals. So an utmost and umpteen gentleness associated with this, that not meant to attack, but really, a heartfelt compassion, compassionate air that totally meant, you know, showing the power, the prowess, and giving a clear indication for the rivals, for the enemies to step back. Very good. Like, that's so good an approach. This compassion and kindness makes us proud Indians. We believe in the fact of Sajjananam tu Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. We believe in the fact that entire world is our home and we treat it lightly. The missile strikes targeted locations including Subhanallah Mosque in Bhavalpur near Ahmedpur East and Markaz-e-Taiba in Muridke, part of the headquarters of JEM and the headquarters of Lashkar-e-Taiba, respectively, and alleged by India to be their terrorist training camps. Other sites claimed to have been targeted by India included Abbas Mosque associated with the JEM in the Kotli district, Shawai Nala camp associated with the Lashkar-e-Taiba, and Saidna Bilal Mosque associated with the JEM in Muzaffarabad. A site in Gulpur, Kotli district, alleged by the Indian government to be a Lashkar-e-Taiba and HUM camp. Markaz Ahl-e-Hadith in Barnala, Bhimber district, alleged by the Indian government to be associated with the Lashkar-e-Taiba. A site in Mehmona Joya, Kotli Loharan West, Sialkot district, alleged by the Indian government to be a HUM camp. And a site in Tera Katlan in Sarjal, Shakkargarh Tehsil, Sialkot district, alleged by the Indian government to be a JEM camp. India later showed satellite images purportedly showing damage at the targeted sites. So then the satellite images came in, which showed the damage, which showed the extent of damage done, which was quite important as to, you know, carrying the mission forward. That basically this was the idea, like, this is what we strived for. And then the satellite images were also shown about the certain damages, basically like the mission accomplished kind of a vibe was set. Because see, we don't like war. Rather, no one likes it. And again, terrorism has no religion or no land. Wrong is wrong. Terrorists in India are bad. Terrorists in Pakistan are bad. For that matter, terrorists in any part of the world are bad. कहते हैं ना कि एक गंदी मछली पूरे तालाब को गंदा कर लेती है. So if we have that kind of an air, that terrorism, so it's bad. Something we all hate and despise. Right? So according to this Pakistani security source, approximately 125 Indian and Pakistani fighter jets engaged in the aerial dogfight after the Indian airstrikes on the 7th May, exchanging long range missile fire in a confrontation that lasted over an hour. So there was a dog fight, like the airstrike was there, and according to the Daily Telegraph, neither Pakistani nor Indian aircraft crossed the border, engaging instead in a standoff conflict at a distance of more than 100 kilometers at times. So again, like there was no border infiltration. Pakistan claimed that during the dogfight, it had downed five Indian aircraft, including three Rafales, one MiG-29, one Su-30 MKI, and a Heron unnamed aerial vehicle. On 15th May, Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif claimed that Pakistan shot down six Indian fighter jets, the sixth being a Mirage 2000. On 28th May, he again said that six Indian fighter jets were down, but said that four of these were Rafale, one MiG 29, and one another plane. On 6 June, the Pakistan Air Force (PAF) said that Number 15 Squadron, also known as the Cobras, was responsible for shooting down six Indian Air Force fighter jets. Operating out of Pakistan Air Force Base Minhas in Kamra with J-10C multi-role fighters equipped with PL-15 beyond visual range missiles, the squadron claimed to have downed three Rafales, a MiG-29 and Mirage 2000, and a Su-30 MKI. According to Dawn, that is the National Daily of Pakistan, the Cobras deployed 18 out of the 20 aircraft assigned to the squadron for the intercept operation on 7th May. So even the opposition was charging, there had been, this warlike scenario, and there was massive havoc, great destruction. So things weren't seeming very nice. Things didn't seem, great. A French intelligence official told CNN that an Indian Rafale was downed by Pakistan, though the French military did not comment. Later, Chief of Staff of the French Air and Space Force, General Jean Erwin Jeremy Bellinger, stated that he had seen evidence of three aircraft being downed, including a Rafale, a Mirage 2000, and a Russian Sukhoi. Reuters reported that unnamed Indian government sources said that three fighter jets had crashed in India due to unknown causes. On 8th of May, an unnamed US official told Reuters that he assessed with high confidence that Pakistani J-10 aircraft had shot down at least two Indian fighter jets. A second official assessed one of the downed jets to be a Dassault Rafale. The Washington Post later said that it had identified three crash sites in India from 7th May, identifying two of them as belonging to an Indian Dassault Rafale and Dassault Mirage 2000. On 9th of May, local government sources in Indian administered Jammu and Kashmir told Reuters that three fighter jets crashed in India on 7th May, with three pilots being hospitalized. On 11th May, while responding to a question on whether the force suffered losses, the Indian Air Force said that losses are a part of combat, which is actually true. Losses are a part of combat, but declined to provide information on whether any losses had occurred. According to a working paper written by Christopher Clary for Stimson Center, there was credible evidence that up to four Indian aircraft may indeed have been shot down during the encounter. On 18 July 2025, President of the United States Donald Trump said that he believed five aircraft had been shot down during the conflict. So now they were just basically assessing the loss, assessing war, that what was the conflict, what was the losses, and everyone was as per their own sources citing up the loss, or such and such aircrafts were shot down, such and such things happened. So again, a very jeopardizing, very spine-chilling a situation, something that shouldn't have been in the first place, right? So Pakistan confirmed strikes on six of the sites targeted by India, denying the strikes at Barnala and Gulpur in Pakistan-administered Azad Kashmir, but said these were civilian areas, including mosques and residential areas, and were not terrorist facilities. The Pakistani government condemned them as an act of war that resulted in civilian casualties. Shehbaz Sharif convened a meeting of the National Security Council to coordinate retaliatory strikes. The NSC declared that Pakistan reserves the right to respond in self defense at a time, place, and manner of its choosing. Wow! Look at this terrible statement. Pakistan reserves the right to respond. Why did you infiltrate in Falgam in the first place? India did reserve the right to respond, and they responded in a rightful way. So here the NSC declared that Pakistan reserves the right to respond in self-defense at a time, place and manner of its choosing. Sharif gave the Pakistani army under Asim Munir the right to respond in any way needed. Look at these, for a lack of a better word, nincompoops. I mean, you are now willing to respond that an act of terror has been initiated in your land. Why did the act of terror initiated in our land in the first place? Why were you want to break the peace treaty? How were those civilians responsible for any act of terrorism? कश्मीर is considered heaven. लोग कहते हैं कि जन्नत कहीं है तो यही है, यही है, यही है, और कश्मीर में है. लोग इतना सेव करते हैं, लोगों के बकेट लिस्ट में होता है कश्मीर जाना, और वहां पे कुछ ऐसा होगा तो कितनी हॉस्टिलिटी फैलेगी. कश्मीर का एक कोर है टूरिज्म, और आप वहां पे टेररिज्म फैला के आप क्या प्रूव करना चाहते हो? सो आप देखिए, India is really the powerful nation, an emerging superpower, and this is a message to the world. And now we have very great administration. We have the best of people in the defense, best of people who are taking care of our country. So don't mess with us. The idea is, being a peace loving nation, don't consider our tolerance to be a weakness. हमने बहुत एंडर किया है. अगर आप हमारे पास्ट को भी खगाल कर देखेंगे तो कभी भी India was never the first to attack. India is known to stop and finish wars at once, but never to attack. तो बहुत ज़रूरी था, और ये गुस्सा था, और ये ऑपरेशन सिंदूर एक मूवमेंट थी, एक नेशनल मूवमेंट थी कि हमें भी जवाब देना आता है. ये बहुत ज़रूरी था, क्योंकि अगर आप हमारी टॉलरेंस को वीकनेस समझेंगे तो हम रिटेलिएट करेंगे. हम बार बार रिटेलिएट करेंगे, और हम बिल्कुल नहीं घबराएंगे या पीछे हटेंगे. अगर हमारी पीस को चैलेंज किया जाता है, अगर हमारी पीस का कोई भी थ्रेट आए, तो हम ज़्यादा डिवास्टेटिव वे से जवाब देंगे, जो कि ऑपरेशन सिंदूर था. सो वी डोंट लाइक वॉर. We don't like to be hostile, but if need be, we can go all in to secure our peace, to secure the peaceful sleep of all the civilians in our country, and also to strive for the security of the people who are leading this from the front. Our defense personals, our army jawans, our air force jawans, our navy jawans. So, this is the idea. Never mess with anyone in the first place. Like, terrorism is terrible. And it's not a matter of Pakistan, or it's not a matter of Iran or Iraq or Russia or Japan or India or Ukraine. It is basically a matter of a heinous activity that is not required in the world. We need innovators, we need creative people, we need artists, we need peacemakers in the world. We need change makers in the world. We need people who plant trees. We need people who are planting, thousands and millions of trees annually. Not people who are, just abolishing peace or creating bloodshed or havoc. We don't need such, you know, such filth in our land. Be it any country, be it any place, we need peace. And Operation Sindoor was India's answer to attaining peace. So this is one part, and then according to India, Pakistan cross-border artillery shelling and small arms firing increased following the Indian attacks, including in the regions of Poonch, Rajouri, Kupwara, Baramulla, Uri, and Akhnur, located in Indian-administered Jammu and Kashmir. Pakistani shelling of Poonch town and its vicinity killed at least 11 people and damaged an Islamic school along with numerous homes. According to the news minute, the casualties included a Sikh Ragi. Pakistan said that the Neelam Jhelum hydropower plant had been damaged by Indian shelling following the initial Indian strikes. Who were the cause? You were the cause. If you love peace, you cannot bear any kind of warlike activity, or you say, any kind of hindering of peace. Please be peaceful in the first place. So then 8th of May came, 8th of May dawned, and on 8th of May, India said that Pakistan had launched drone and missile strikes on several Indian cities, including Amritsar, and that India negated these strikes by the S-400 missile system at Adampur Air Force Station, marking India's first combat use of the missile system. Pakistan denied launching drone and missile strikes on India. Pakistani Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar claimed that the Indian army had intentionally carried out a false flag attack on the Indian city of Amritsar, blaming it on Pakistan in order to generate domestic support. Look at that. We would be defaming another country in the garb of war, that oh my god, this is a Pakistani flag, Pakistan is attacking us. Come on, Pakistan. You really need to kill your administrators. Nasty, nasty statement. The Pakistani military spokesperson also claimed that Indian drones headed towards Nankana Sahib were brought down. The claim was denied by India and described as false by Indian media. Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri dismissed these as a deranged fantasy. Deranged fantasy! And an attempt by Pakistan to hide its own actions. So now blame game was from both the parties, of course. It's not that we claim that, it was Pakistan who was wrong in this regard, or it was maybe India who was all or absolutely correct. Warlike situation happened, and we were like really, jeopardized by this. So, such a situation would have happened. Then on the 9th of May, exchanges of fire. So then on 9th of May, exchanges of fire had stopped in the early morning. However, clashes restarted after 13 hours of relative calm. Exchanges of artillery fire began in Kashmir, including in Kupwara, Poonch, Uri, and Samba along the LOC, according to the Indian Army. Drones were repeatedly sighted in 26 locations across a wide area from Baramulla in the north to Bhuj in the south, with at least one armed drone in Punjab. However, Pakistani officials dismissed the Indian accusations as baseless and misleading, denying any offensive actions. India claimed that a Pakistani army post along the LOC was destroyed. Then 10th of May dawned at 1:45 a.m. Pakistan Army spokesman made a unscheduled broadcast claiming that India fired ballistic missiles from Adhampur that fell into its own territory, saying that they struck Adhampur and Amritsar and later around 3:20 a.m. added that India had targeted Afghanistan with missile and drone strikes. India denied the allegations, calling the claims ludicrous and frivolous. The Taliban government of Afghanistan also denied Pakistani claims of Indian attacks on Afghanistan. It was termed a bizarre and unsubstantiated claim by Clary. I don't know what you've been up to, people. So then it was just the blame games. A ceasefire began at 17 to 16:30. It was first announced by the US President Donald Trump on social media prior to the official statements by the Indian and Pakistani foreign ministers. After the ceasefire, there were reports of explosions in the sites of Srinagar and Jammu, according to authorities. Residents and the Ritter's witnesses. Both sides claimed victory after the ceasefire. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif designated 16th May to be celebrated as Yume Tashakur, Day of Gratitude in honor of its armed forces. All right, a lot of war talks we've had. So basically, it has given you an idea about what Operation Sindoor was, why it started, how it started, what the impact was. So you've got all the data to write your essay. I'll also be tagging or clipping it along with the link with the description. So I request all the listeners who've been here, who have, held in the session for too long, write it down. Write your opinion about Operation Sindoor. That's exactly what the nation wants to know. mygovernment.in portal is waiting for your entry. Write it down. Just, give it your voice, what you think about this entire situation, this entire scenario, and what is your view and the opinion about the peace treaty? What is your view about our secular country and its war policy? What do you think about terrorism? How we should cope with it? Was Operation Sindoor totally right or it was unnecessary? Which obviously it wasn't. How we can procure and secure our peace, and what agendas as youth we should always be focusing on. Rather was we should probably, think innovation, think growth, think technological revolution, think human revolution, and propagate spirituality, propagate peace, and live to love and love to live should be that motto. So Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Har Har Mahadev. Your entries are awaited and please put them forward today. It's the last day. Entries closes tomorrow on the 31st of July. So today let's all strike and strive, and we've had a lot of Operation Sindoor discussion and we know about it inside out now. We know about all the details about it. And it's a 500, 600 word essay. I'll be tagging along the link to the essay. I'll be tagging along the rules and regulations. And the first thing we do after you know concluding this session is write our essay, send it right there to the mygovernment.in portal, and look forward to a great day. Keep meditating, keep being peaceful, keep striving for the human revolution, keep striving for a better, beautiful, secure, and a safer and a more peaceful world. And kings and queens of Palace of Words, together let's strive to build our Palace of Words bigger, better, and more divine. Har Har Mahadev.